welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Vintage, and at the request of Patreon subscriber Stefan, this is Beseech the Mirror Storm. Dark Ritual combo decks in Vintage, at least Storm style decks, have been out of favor for a couple years. There was a brief window like 2 or 3 years ago where Dark Petition Storm had a good spot in the metagame, but really when these decks are trying to compete with decks that are just as fast but also contain Force of Will, like Paradoxical Outcome, like Jewel Shops, it's kind of a hard sell. However, in the time since then, Lorien Revealed and Stock Up have both been printed, which are cards that Storm decks would like to play and give them enough blue cards to support Force of Will, which has breathed new life into this kind of old fading archetype. The goal of this deck is primarily to go fast. We have 2 Thoughtseize, 4 Force of Will to shove stuff through. We've got a Flusterstorm, and we just play the full boat of artifact mana that we're allowed to play. We've got Tinker Plans, we've got Karn the Great Creator, we've got Tinker for Bolas the Citadel. Beseech the Mirror can go off from pretty low resources and build enough Storm just by itself with Yawgmoth's Will and Dark Ritual to get Tendrils of Agony. And the stock ups and Lorien Revealeds make it so the deck can grind, which is a scary place for a Storm deck to be. Like, if I get stopped, my deck still has a bunch of cards that can recoup that and get back into the game. This is, on average, faster than a deck like Paradoxical Outcome, but it is a little worse at grinding. That's the trade-off you get there. It is also not as fast as Jewel Shops, or they're about similar speed, I guess, but this one is deterministic when it happens. Like, having a Tendrils of Agony in the deck means your opponent's dead when you do your thing, where Jewel Shops might cast a Jewel, then cast a One Ring, and then pass with large advantage, but the game isn't literally over. That's the advantage there. Versus combo decks like Raker Shops, you've got Force of Will and they don't. And then versus the fair decks, a lot of them are using cards like Null Rod to fend off combo decks, and Dark Ritual gives you a non-mana or a non-artifact way to get a bunch of mana and do dumb Storm stuff. That's kind of just, the pros and cons, quick list. Why would you consider this over one of the 4 or 5 established combo decks at the top of the Vintage meta? There's also just vibes. If you like Tendrils of Agony, this is the place you get to play it. I'm going to try this out. Hopefully it is quick and brutal. This is Beseech Storm. I'm on the play in round 1, and holy smokes, this hand. Okay. So I can't cast Tinker because my Black Lotus is my only artifact. This hand looks broken. I just have to figure out how. So I can go Lotus, Ritual, Yawgwill, Lotus, Ritual, Tinker, and then still cast Beseech after all that. Yeah, I'll keep. My opponent did not reveal Aluris. Let's hope they're a deck that just dies to some crazy mess. I can't bargain the Beseech, but I think that's okay. Okay, Black Lotus, C, Ritual. If they counter Yawgwill, I'm kind of in the garbage. Okay, blue in the pool. I'm going to Yawgwill, leaving blue-black floating. 2 blue and a black. Shit. Pitching Prized Amalgam. All right, we're against Dredge. All right, well, they got me. Now I need to draw an artifact that can cast this Tinker. Yeah, we were just like 1 additional piece away from a double send there. If I just had a Mox or Soul Ring or even Sensei's Divining Top would have got it done there. But I don't think I mulligan that, and I don't think I play it slow. Okay, Grief, pitching Grief. So they had Grief black card, Force blue card. The classic Dredge experience of nobody beats them when they keep a good hand. And Bazaar discarded a hollow one, and their last card in hand is hollow one, and they do have a Dredger. Tezzeret, I don't think that's going to win me the game, but I have a couple turns to figure this out. We basically need them to whiff on their Dredge. Okay, so they decided to draw for turn first. So they dredged and they missed. Now they're bazaring in their own draw step, so they're just going to discard all their cards. Okay. Yeah, they could have dredged in their upkeep, or bazared in the upkeep, dredged, and then at least Shambling Shell is still there. And I'm not a dredge player. They might have reasons for this sequencing, but they definitely could have dredged a lot more than they did. All right, starting to make headway here. I hope they just mill 3 cards again. Okay, they figured it out. Upkeep dredge hits Narcomoeba and Icarid. There's Silver Smoke Ghouls in there. If they hit a Creeping Chill on this dredge 3, I'm in trouble. Prized Amalgam, Stinkweedum's in there now. All right, what can I do? My Lotus and Yogg-Will are both gone already. I need mana to start doing anything, basically. That's not it. All right, so they have Icarid. That's 3, 7, 8, 9. I'm at 2. And if they hit anything, I'm dead. I guess I technically have to play it out. If Urza Saga pops next turn, that can get me like Mana Crypt, which is a sudden, or Mana Vault. All right, they hit Creeping Chill, we're dead. All right, Force blue card, Grief black card. That's fine. Graft Digger's Cage, Tabernacle, Pithing Needle, Tormod's Crypt. I think it is better to actually have all these artifacts in my deck than it is to leave them in the Karn board. I want them early. I want them to cost 0 and 1, not 4 and 5. And I also want to be drawing to 3 good things, not 1 good thing. Chain of Vapor, they might have a Chalice of the Void that I need to bounce, but I'm mostly not interested in that. Sensei's Top. Normally I'd say that's slow versus dredge, but I am a Bolas' Citadel combo deck here. The normal rules might not apply. I don't think I need Mental Misstep. I still like Flusterstorm and Force just fine, because we did lose that game because we lost to Counter War. I think Merchant Scroll's a little slow, and Stock Up might be a little slow here. I might not need my basic island versus dredge. Going down to 10 lands. Even for Vintage, that feels like not very many. And dredge sometimes has wastelands. Okay, I will make these changes. Okay, my hand is low, but it has Sensei's Top, and I can Thoughtseize them, see what's going on, and Tabernacle buys me some time. Maybe this is supposed to be a mulligan, but I am fine testing the range of this deck, because we saw what happens when you go all in game 1, and this hand doesn't go all in. It might not do anything, but it does have a ton of mana and top to make it happen, and some interaction along the way. Leyline of the Void. All right, they kept 7 and they have a Leyline. That means Yogg-Will isn't very good. Thoughtseize you. All right, Force of Vigor and 3 Shambling Shells, double Bazaar. My goodness. Well, I'll take the Force of Vigor, obviously. And Mox, top. I could save the Lotus for Storm, or I could protect it from Grief. I'm going to get the Lotus in the mix. There's the first of many Bazaars. Discarded Amalgam and 2 Shells. Upkeep, spin my top. Beseech the Mirror. That is one of my better cards. I can Tinker here, or I could Pithing Needle here. Wow. All right, do I want to play defense, I guess is the question. Like, if I draw Beseech, I can go Dark Ritual, Beseech, sack, Mox Emerald, get Tinker. If I wait a turn, I can do this a little better. All right. I'm going to take the Pithing Needle this turn. Pithing Needle on Bazaar of Baghdad. And might as well play the Tabernacle. It's not doing anything in my hand. It means they can plan around it, but I'm hoping that they're just in kind of garbage mode and can't really plan for anything. All right, cool. They don't want to play anymore. Sweet. They're bringing in ley lines against me. A lot of respect for Yawgmoth's Will, which makes sense. It is the hinge around which Beseech storm lines function. Yeah, I don't think I'm making any changes here. These are the cards. I did unfortunately show them the Tabernacle in a game they were just ended up conceding anyway. All right, this one does not go hard enough. I'm not going to trust Thoughtseize on the draw versus dredge. Okay. This deck is so sick. All right, I'm keeping this hand. What to send to the bottom is actually kind of tough. It's probably just Mox Ruby, though. Let's be serious. I can still Tinker even if they Grief. I could still Ancestral even if they Grief. If they have Chalice on 0, bottoming the Ruby is best anyway. All right. Playing properly broken Vintage decks is so exciting. Look at all these freaking cards. The opponent unfortunately kept 6, which is a lot. Okay, I can just lead on Ancestral Recall and see what happens. I could try to tinker first. And if I could tinker with my land drop, that makes Citadel better. But I think I'd rather have a battle with them. Or if my Ancestral can come up with a counterspell, I'm going to be feeling really good. If they force this, that's totally fine. I hope they don't have the misstep. That's too easy. Force a negation, pitching Prized Amalgam. All right. Mana Crypt. Black Lotus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tinker. Bolus is Citadel. Come on in. Hit the land right away. Super awkward that Grafdigger's Cage turns off Bolus's Citadel here. I think I just have to take that chance. All right, go. And they did have the force, so I did have to play the land. I guess I could have... Okay. Force of Vigor, Shambling Shell were the last card. So right now, we have a chance to put this game into garbage time. They get 1 big dredge here. They hit 1 Narcomoeba so far. And please don't put 4 Prized Amalgams into play right now. They hit 1 Prized Amalgam. That's probably enough. All right, I'm at 13. There's the island we knew about. Grafdigger's Cage, at least try to slow them down a little bit. 2 Creeping Chills triggered already. So they still have 6 points of burn in the deck, and they have 4 power in play. So what if I had gone Lotus Ancestral first? Then I still have my land drop. But they just Force of Vigor anyway. All right, stock up. Let's make a game out of this. Tormod's Crypt, Time Walk, Tezzeret. All right, how do we do this? Tez can tutor something that casts Time Walk. I don't think Tormod's Crypt is my fight here. All right, I think it's Tez Time Walk. Okay, they're not dredging. They're trying to draw interaction instead of flipping for their Creeping Chills, which is great for me. That gives me just more time to figure this out. Okay, another Bazaar from hand. That means they can't force me. All right, anything that is mana is good here. Okay, with the Black Lotus in my graveyard, the Tez is actually... No, it's fine. No, I can't untap and tutor. It's one or the other. All right, what's in my deck? Tez could get Soul Ring. Tez getting Manifold Key here doesn't matter. My Lotus and my Mana Crypt are both gone already. I could get 1 tutor and go to 1, or I get a tutor, they kill Tez and I'm at 2. Either way, Creeping Chill defeats me. I don't think I'm winning a game where I just Time Walk and take another draw. So Tabernacle is in my deck. All right. Yeah, Tez just doesn't do enough. Maybe I needed to take Tez Mox last turn. Okay. Let's go to my walk turn. Not exciting. Tendrils, you asshole. All right. Tezzeret. Tutor. Good chance I'm just dead here, if they remember they have Creeping Chills in their deck. All right, they're Bazaaring in response. Yeah, it seems like they have suddenly remembered that they can do this. Oh, I have Tormod's Crypt in my deck. That's what I'm playing towards. And that's why they're doing this now. All right, please miss, please miss, please miss. My goodness. They actually did miss on the Creeping Chills. All right, Tormod's Crypt is the get. It doesn't really help me win the game. But it does. I'm literally dead if I don't do this. So I have to thread the needle here. And this is also really dangerous because they can slow dredge in their upkeep. Okay, they missed on that one. That means the bottom 6 cards of their deck are all of the remaining things. And if they want to kill Tez, they have to attack it with Prized Amalgam, which gives me an extra turn. Or no, it doesn't. The clock's the same. Yeah, the clock is the same here. Or do you want to just put me to 1? Okay, they're attacking Tez with Narcomoeba and me with Amalgam. Tez was not going to be able to tutor anyway. All right, I need a nice draw here. Even like Mox Jet and then Tendrils for 4 buys me potentially enough time. Oh my god, they're Bazaaring with 6 cards in their deck. They milled Creeping Chill and now they have 0 cards in their deck. What's the plan here, fella? I have Tormod's Crypt in play. Whoops. They must have forgot about Tormod's Crypt. Fascinating. Or maybe they thought they had a Noxious Revival left in the deck to dance around it, but okay. I was definitely going to lose that game. Force Will on top. We take those. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play in round 2 versus a Lurrus strategy. The Tendrils once again in my hand. Don't love that. I do like Yogg-Will. I do like that I'm interactive and have a ton of mana. I will try this, though obviously it's missing a little bit of action. Jet. Thoughtseize. Okie dokie. Wasteland. Played around it, I just don't have any lands. Stock up Force of Will, Bowmaster, Plow. I think I take the Force of Will here. Mox Pearl. And I can Lorien Revealed for basic island. There's not a Surveil land in this list, no room for it. Alright, island. Play that, pass. I gotta get something going here, but currently their hand is not very good. Tundra. Ooh, that qualifies as something. I could play Sink into Stupor. I think I want to do that. The reason being that if they spend this turn wastelanding instead of like Demonic Tutoring for Force of Will, that's fine for me. Okay, that's done. I have this Yogg-Will, which means any 1-for-1 exchange we make early, I can turn around later. Okay, Tinker is the card I'd like to resolve here. So I'm going to get that. Tinker. Sometimes these decks have a Spell Pierce in them, but I'm just going to hope they don't have it right now. Oh, they drew a Force. That's fine. That's the thing about Yogg-Will. These things will be back. They forced pitching stock up. God damn. All right, well, now they're in good shape. All right, so Black Lotus wins the game immediately. Mana Vault. Oh. Okay, so Vault gives me 4 mana. I can Yogg-Will with 1 floating and then go Mox, Sink into Stupor, Tinker. Yeah, I mean, this is what we signed up for. Yogg-Will, Pearl, Sink into Stupor as Soporific Springs, take the beats, Tinker. All right, we did it. Bolas' Citadel is in play. Force of Will on top of my deck. All right. It's not 100% locked yet, but Force of Will is pretty good. Like if they try to Demonic Tutor for an answer to Tinker here, something I can counterplay. Time Walk's not my fight. And they're done. Cool. Man, Yawgmoth's Will. Hell of a card. And I want some Flusterstorms to counterplay their interaction that they play a lot of. I don't really have a juke here. I can't just not be a combo deck. I have these Hull Breachers I could bring in, but those are more for jewel shops. Snuff Out can kill nothing in this deck. It doesn't kill Bowmaster or Frog at all, and it's really hard to kill a Lavinia with Snuff Out, so I'm not bringing that in. Yeah, I think it's just the Flusterstorms. I could bring in this value One Ring, I guess. Having it in the Karn board as just something you can wish for is reasonable, but you can also just bring it in. Where do we find room for interaction? This list is so tight. Enchant of Vapor can bounce like a Vexing Bauble or a Null Rod kind of thing. I think I need one of those in the deck. Merchant Scroll just might be too slow. Scroll only really gets in this deck a Counterspell or Ancestral Recall. There's not a lot going on there. This is exactly the matchup where stock up would be good, because they're likely to drag the game out on us. Maybe I cut Lorien Revealed. Maybe I cut Karn. Like, Karn is one of my win cons. No, they have Force of Negation in their deck, which, if they negate my Time Vault, Karn can still get it. Mystical Tutor is great. Thoughtseize is great. Vamp Tutor is great. Yeah, it might just be a stock up. I'm just not sure where else to find cuts here. I could cut a Beseech, which is kind of the name of the game. If I think we're going to go slower, I could cut a Dark Ritual. All right, I am going to try -1 Beseech, which might be wrong, but me as a player, if I'm down to the decision between something like Stock Up, which gives me lots of decisions if things are going wrong, or a card like Beseech, which wins the game if things are going right, I'm going to try to solve for the situation where things are wrong. All right, Ancestral Recall that I can protect. I'll keep it. I guess I can't protect it because my blue card is my land. Whoops. All right, mana, black or... All right. Were you worried? I wasn't. All right, Mox Ruby, Soul Ring, Stink into Stupid. And I'm going to pass. This plays around Flusterstorm and Mindbreak Trap if I Ancestral in their upkeep and Force of Negation. Ancestral myself. Okay, they tap mana, then untap mana, then their life total went down. So they have Force and something to cast for blue. Force pitching Spell Pierce, look at that. All right, Force pitching Force. And we're in there. Missing black mana, but the hand wins instantly if it finds it. Oh god, Lavinia. Nullrod's not great for me either. Swamp gets this party going. Flusterstorm. I think it's better for me to hold up Flusterstorm against an enemy Ancestral or enemy stock up than it is for me to develop a Mana Vault that doesn't tap. All right, bad news. We've got 2 cards in hand. Come on, Swamp. Let's win this game. Bummer. I still think it's more important for me to pass here. Yeah, Nullrod's pretty good against my deck. I dare say. Leaving 3 mana up, not buying Luris. Okay, I think here I'm going to discard the Mana Vault. I am ready to just rip it if I draw a Swamp. Just an Underground Sea, a fetch land. Wasteland means I can't protect myself anymore. Come on, deck. All right. Well, okay. What does this actually do? It's Ritual, Demonic. Yeah, I mean, this is a win if they have nothing, and I just have to play like they have nothing. Ritual. DT for Ritual is just mana neutral and build Storm. DT for Ritual. I can't cast Tinker here. Ritual. Yogwill. Storm is enough here. But if they have their own Flusterstorm, it's not enough. Force of Negation. All right, Flusterstorm. Moment of Truth. That Force pitched Olorian. If they have 2 things here, I'm dead. If they have nothing, I win. Their Force of Negation was countered. And... oh no. They're fetching. What costs 4? They're going to dig through time. All right. Well, they are digging for an answer. 2 of their forces are spent already. There's still a lot in the deck, but I guess it's possible to miss on a blue card here too. Wow. All right. We're in there. Rit. Okay, Mental Misstep was their last card there. I did not need that one. So that Ritual would have given me enough to back up my Beseech with Force. But I guess that ship has just sailed then. All right, Beseech with Bargain. Sacking this Mox Ruby. And get the Tendrils. 14 Drills of Agony. Nice, all right. Smoked a Nullrod, got hit by Psychic Frog multiple times. Just bullying these counterspell decks. On to the next one. This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks. And groupings like type, subtype, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there. I'm on the draw in round 3. My hand has a turn 2 protected Tinker. I'm going to keep. Against Not Luris, this is a little bit scary because Not Luris is probably either Prison or Combo, and being on the draw with no protection against either of those decks is not ideal. My opponent also said they're playing for their 5-0 right now. Respectfully, I hope I can stop you. Oh, well, I don't like that. Okay, yeah, another situation where being on the draw is worse than not being on the draw. Oh, well, there's that guy. And I know he's going to resolve. All right, this might be a turn 2 win. Dark Ritual, Tez, I tutor Soul Ring, and then I can win with Time Vault next turn, and they can't force it because of their own card. All right, fingers crossed. Hope this works. That was a nice card to draw, facing down Vexing Bauble. Our opponent has passed the turn. I don't like this Spell Pierce, Flusterstorm, Pyroblast, all that stuff being revealed here. Oh, all right. If I wait a turn, Wait, I don't even have... No, I do have to wait a turn. Never mind. Got excited for a second there. I do have to wait a turn. I can untap Soul Ring with Tezzeret, but that doesn't help me do anything here. Right, float 2. It's when an artifact enters, not when you cast an artifact, so I can't, like, cheese an extra counter onto Tez by casting into Bauble. Okay, that didn't do anything, but they didn't respond to it either. All right, I'm going to pass, and I'm going to, I think, vamp in their end step and see if I can get a fight going, and then go to my turn where I have the whole win lined up with Flusterstorm backup. Cycling Lorien. All right, what's my opponent doing over here? No Lurrus, Vexing Bauble, Volcanic Island, Underground Sea. It's just Grixis magic cards. Thundering Falls. This could be like Grixis Breach without the Lurrus. Kept the card on top. Don't like that. So if they tap out, they lose to their own Vexing Bauble. If they don't tap out, I've got some counterplay. Suplexing my Soul Ring. Disappointing. All right, I'll make some mana there. And then, while I still have mana floating, I'm gonna vamp. Okay. I'm gonna get the... I could just get Time Vault directly, but that doesn't play around anything. I think I want to get the Mana Vault. Unfortunately, they didn't start a fight with me, which is what I wanted. Mana Vault. This puts Tezzeret up to fight mode again. Like, I can tutor something if I want to, but I don't really want to. That main deck suplex makes me think this is Breach. I'll untap the Mana Vault. See if they want to react to that. They do not. Okay. They left their Delta uncracked. There's the sea we knew about. I think I want to fire this Brainstorm in the end step. If they snag it with a Hull Breacher or something, that's not even a big deal. Oh, wow. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. I'll put back these 2 Moxen that don't help. And now Tinker is bait. And I just have the Time Vault in my hand. I draw for turn. It's a Mox that doesn't help me. Flooded Strand. Tinker. It's awkward because if they don't fight over this, then I'm just gonna like put in a Bolas Citadel that doesn't work. Shit. Okay. It's weird that that resolved. I could muscle up with Bolas Citadel and mean that they can never crack their Vexing Bauble. I could get Sensei's Top. I should get something that I can't get otherwise. Like, yeah, Citadel just doesn't work. But if we end up in a fight over this Time Vault where they have to crack their Bauble, Citadel becomes quite good. Alright, I'll get Citadel. There's a stock up on top of my deck. Alright, Time Vault from hand. Alright, here we go. This is exactly what I was trying to set up. That's why I got the Citadel. Wow, they really just had nothing over there. Sweet. All that work, and they were just blank. Okay, we're against some sort of Grixis something or other that I suspect is probably Breach. I'm going to bring in my Tormod script. They can't combo out through Karn anyway, because they need Black Lotus to function on their Breach lines. So it's not like I need to wish for Tormod script. That's redundant. All Breacher seems potentially solid. I could see arguments for Mindbreak Trap. I'm probably just going to maintain my posture as the more aggressive deck here and not overboard. Like Fluster, Crypt seem like the ones that I'd really like. And Merchant Scroll, Sensei's Top, Beseech the Mirror can come out. Or do I like Beseech more than Stock Up? Suspecting that it's a combo matchup. Like, Beseech lets me go faster, Stock Up lets me grind. So that's the exact opposite decision that I made versus the previous opponent, but both seem to make sense. Alright, this is my plan. It's possible that they're just not Breach, and I'm just stone wrong, but the signs tend to point that way. Alright, don't have your Vexing Bauble again. Black Lotus, that one's pretty good too. Mana Crypt, am I dead? Stock Up, sure. I'm 1 mana short of presenting a Tendrils kill, because I can go 3 mana Tez, Tutor Lotus. If I find a mana somewhere like a Ritual, then I can Beseech for Yogg-Will, sacking Mox Jet, and then I can replay the Jet, the Lotus, into another Beseech, which can Beseech for Beseech, and then that's enough Storm. All right, let's find a way to go +1 mana somehow. But my opponent is also showing Hardcast Force of Will, Mental Misstep, right on time. I do not think my opponent is going to be a Wasteland deck. Jet, Sapphire, Tez. You can't Flusterstorm this one. And Force of Will, I just got to get through it somehow. Minus Tez. Do I want the defensive Tormod script? No, I do not. I want the Black Lotus. And I'll just play it. That does affect my storm count for next turn, but I hope that's not what the game's about. Lost their Crypt Flip. Uh-oh. It's Lotus time. Merchant Scroll. I have Mental Misstep for Ancestral. I should have gotten the Tormod script. Alright. Yep, Breach confirmed. I think it's wrong to get Tormod script there, but, you know, I am going to lose because of it. Let's take a look at my opponent's deck. Time Twister is in there. Multiple breaches. Brain Freeze again. Stock ups, Hull Breachers. Hull Breacher confirmed. Multiple Hull Breachers. Yeah, if you suspect Breach and they don't have Luris, Hull Breacher is a card you have to think about. That's the reason they're doing it like that. Mox Emerald from the graveyard. Lotus from the graveyard. Still targeting themselves with Brain Freeze. I'll concede when they start targeting me. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These middle ones are targeting me. So Milieu, there's Pyroblast, a bunch of those. Pyroblast, Hull Breacher, and just double checking that I don't have anything that can beat this. Nope. All right. And concede. Okay, so I probably win that game if I tutor for Tormod script. Maybe I'm supposed to play defense. I'm not really convinced that's supposed to happen. All right, switch out a stock up for a Mindbreak Trap, I think. Really like Thoughtseize. I can't give up too much grinding power because I do have to win the game somehow. All right, yeah, just a little more interaction. Oh no, this hand sucks. If this was Underground Sea, this hand would be insane. But okay, mulligan. All right, this is a turn 1 stock up with Yawg Will in the bank. Keep this and bottom the Flooded Strand. Mana Crypt. Force of Negation. All right, pitching Flusterstorm. That makes my stock up a little worse, but I'm still going to cast it. They're just going to be so stoked this isn't Tinker. All right, stock up. There's Tinker. I don't have the mana to cast Tinker, but I will take it. It'll kick in eventually. Do I want Time Walk to try to get an extra shot at Tinker or Mystical Tutor? I think I want Walk Tinker. Okay, passing the turn. That force pitched a Flusterstorm. That's 2 counterspells down. Ruby. And pass. I'm going to take damage from this thing. Vamp Tutor. Alright, I'm going to Time Walk. And I could Vamp in the upkeep of the Time Walk turn. Oh, if this flushes out a Pyroblast, that's great. Deal. Deal, deal, deal. Fetch, we know they have a Surveil land. They would need Lotus, Breach, Brain Freeze to win. That's a lot to ask from a 3-card hand, but there are lines here. Scroll. Got Ancestral. Okay. I am going to Vamp for Lotus in this upkeep, because I know it's about to get worse, and I know the coast is currently clear. Well, I don't know it's clear, but I hope it is. If they have to force, I hope it costs them the Ancestral. It's not getting better, is what I'm trying to spit out. Okay, Black Lotus. Draw. Lotus. Blue, blue, blue. Leave a blue floating. Tinker. Sack the Vault. Force pitching stock up. All right, so they still have the Ancestral over there. If I draw 1 more mana, I can resend all of that with the Will. But this Ancestral sucks that they did that. So stock up is as good in a lot of situations, sometimes better than Ancestral. And the game is getting into the type of spot where that might be true. Mana? God, the worst card in my deck. All right, pass. Every turn it gets worse for me, but I do have a win attempt in the bank here. Time Walk. Fetch. Stock up. All right, deck, come on. Mana. Anything that gives me +1 mana. Flusterstorm. That's better than Tendrils of Agony as a draw. This is another reason why Storm, like Dark Ritual Storm, isn't that popular anymore. Because sometimes you draw Tendrils of Agony. God damn. Well, that card is difficult to beat. All I can do is draw Dark Ritual, and even that's not good enough anymore. Gitaxian Probe you. Spell Pierce, Force, Brain Freeze, Tinker. Well, I did draw Dark Ritual. Okay. I've lost. GG's. I guess... I mean, with the Citadel in hand, Tinker's a lot worse. They could Tinker for Lotus, and then they're just Breach away from winning. What do I need to do here? I don't... It's not impossible. Like, I would need Chain of Vapor. No. Alright, they got me. GG's. Congrats on your trophy, opponent. That was a slugfest. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. Round 4 on the play versus a not Luris strategy. I'm going to got a lot of faith in Thoughtseize. Maybe it's misguided, but I want to know what's going on over there. Force pitching Expressive Iteration. All right, someone's in the lab. Expressive Iteration is not a card I've seen in Vintage recently. Gitaxian Probe. My secret's revealed. Wasteland. Yep, I am soft to that right now. Sink into Stupor. All right, I'm just going to pass with this Underground Sea. If they Wasteland me again, I'll Brainstorm in response. Look for the goods. Polluted Delta. Mana Crypt, you don't say. Alright, Soporific Springs. Take the damage. Mana Crypt. They have perfect info about my hand here. I've played out the 2 cards they didn't know about, which were Springs and Crypt. Alright, I'm going to pass for now. Thundering Falls. I don't think this is Breach again, because what's that Wasteland doing there? And that Expressive Iteration. This is probably some sort of like Dreadhorde Arcanist tempo deck. Or it's just something I have not experienced before and I have no idea. That's always possible. Kept a card on top. Tropical Island. Is this... It wouldn't be Oath. Though there is like the Wrenn and 6 Oath deck that plays some stuff like that. Alright, Collector Oof. Looks like Rug Magic cards is what we're up against. Tolarian Academy is the solution to this sort of situation. I'm going to put back Pearl and Beseech, or Beseech and Pearl. Pearl is still worth mana to me here. So do I want to stock up past the Pearl, or have extra mana but be down a Beseech? They are a Wasteland deck, and we know it. Alright, I'm gonna give up on the Pearl. I'm hiding stock up on top of my deck. I don't think they're going to Thoughtseize me suddenly, but if they do, let's just not do that. Now I'm in the dangerous position of a Mana Crypt hurting me, but not helping me. Stock up. They know I have the Fluster. Dark Ritual's excellent. Force of Will is fine. Yeah, Dark Ritual, Force of Will is the plan here. And put all of these sweet, sweet mana artifacts on the bottom. And please don't Wasteland me, but I can kind of win if you do. Wrenn and 6. Oh, that's more Wastelands than I want to play against, so I'll force that. If they force back to get their Wrenn in, that lets my Beseech party. Alright, let's see if I can find the line here. I need their hand to be nothing. If they have force, I'm in trouble. Okay. I don't need to tap Academy yet. I'm going to cast Dark Ritual. Alright, they appear to be F6, which is great news for me. I'll Beseech away the Crypt. How do I get there? I could cast Tinker for Citadel and try to just outmuscle it here. I could Beseech for Beseech, which sacks Time Vault. That Beseech gets Yogg-Will, then Underground Sea, Dark Ritual, Mana Crypt. What's the storm count? 1, 2, it would be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think we're good. All right, yeah, Beseech for Beseech. Cast with Bargain. get Yogg-Will, cast Yogg-Will, play Underground Sea from my graveyard, Dark Ritual, Mana Crypt, Beseech with Bargain, and this is exactly enough tendrils. 10Ds for 16, which happens to be your life total. I could have brainstormed to build Storm here. I probably should have. That was like, if they do randomly just have a force that somehow they decide not to use yet. This Yawgmoth's Will card, how about it, kids? Okay, so there's some kind of Rug Magic card stack. It can't be Oath because they had a Collector Roof in there. Just Teamer Xerox. Snuff Out can kill Collector Oof. That's pretty important. Flusterstorm versus the various Pyroblasts and stuff. A Scroll. The Sensei's Top might be too grindy for this. Even if it goes well with Citadel, it's a brick under Collector Oof. I have Snuff Snuff Fluster here. I could just not bring in the other Fluster. Okay, I'll try this. It's fun to see a deck like this and remember that Tinker, Yawgmoth's Will, and Tolarian Academy are all from the same block and were legal and standard together. Well, what a time. All right, this is a pretty aggressive send, but it's weak to Wasteland, which is a theme of their deck to the point that they're playing Wrenn and 6. But I live without fear. Fetching in my upkeep, are we going to see the Ancestral Recall? There it goes. Beseech the Mirror. So if I Ritual, that's 5. Demonic down to 3. Get Mox Jet. Alright, I'm just going to try to win. Ritual. Demonic. I guess Crypt is better than Jet. Or no, because I need to spend 3 black on Beseech. It has to be Jet. Force of Negation on that. Disappointing. Pitching Time Walk. Alright, I guess I'll vamp with my leftover mana. Probably just put Ancestral on top. Black Lotus on top doesn't help. Ancestral Recall's on top. And please don't Wasteland me. Sad. Okay. We're in weirdo mode now. Collector Oof. So I'm drawing Ancestral, and I need to find one of my actual remaining 10 lands in my deck. And Academy doesn't help, so I need to find one of 9 cards in my deck before I'm dead here. Another Oof. Mana Crypt. The cool thing about Collector Oof compared to Null Rod is that it attacks for 2. And there's a stock up. There's no way I'm winning this game, but I am gonna try to play it out. Alright. Does Force of Will make me more or less likely to win the game? Alright, I'll keep playing, I guess. I go to 8. I have to draw a land that casts Ancestral Recall right now, or else it'll be too late. And it's already too late, but I'll be drawing completely dead at 4 life compared to 8. Fast Bond. Ooh. Okay. That's certainly a card to reveal. They got me. Okay, on the play now, we just focus on speed. Snuff Out feels very important. Yeah, I don't know where to get this other Flusterstorm in the deck, though I do kind of want it. On the play, Dark Ritual Thoughtseize, nothing. This is not a hand. I'm gonna mulligan this. Deck, please. My family is starving. Alright, I'm gonna go to 5. Alright, I'll keep this. Chain of Vapor can answer Oof, but Oof is not the problem with this hand. Yeah, I think I just have to bottom an Underground Sea and hope that mana presents itself. Drop. Fast Pawn, Jesus. Alright, well. Flusterstorm doesn't counter that. Let's see what this actually does. Like, Wrenn and 6 isn't infinite with Fast Bond. If they have Crucible of Worlds, they can play every land in their deck right now. Wasteland, don't love it. Okay, they're wasting my Flooded Strand. I'll fetch Island in response. You do that when you have either infinite Wastelands or enough to make a problem. Like they might just Wrenn and 6 here, pick up the Wasteland. Yep, there's that one. Wrenn picked up Flooded Strand. We're at 14 with 2 cards in hand. This would be a great turn to draw something that accelerates out Tezzeret. Manifold Key. I could Demonic for Mana Vault, and then Mana Vault plus Manifold Key gets enough mana for Tezzeret to maybe do something. Alright, I'm going to Demonic here. All of my mana is temporary because they have Wasteland, Wrenn and 6 going. I could Black Lotus for Tez right now, but I think that's worse than Mana Vault. Okay, force blue card were the last cards in their hand. I would have kept that hand too. A nice one from the opponent. And they've got a Surveil Land in the deck for a little bit of extra juice here. Left it on top. I hate my life. They bought back their Wasteland. No surprises there. Stock up, top card of the deck. Pretty good. I think we've lost, but I will play it out. They tapped all of their green mana to play stock up for some reason. Like Collector Roof isn't a good draw here. There's the Wasteland. Strip Mine, chill. All right. I've got to draw Black Lotus pretty much, or Mana Crypt is good. Black Lotus, Mana Crypt are good. Underground Sea does not help me. Banking that in the hand for a while might be useful at some point. Opponent said this is all they dreamed it would be in the chat. Yeah, I mean, this is the Christmas Land draw. Strip Mine to the hand. 2 turns from now, the Wren emblem can start stocking up from the graveyard every turn. Like, I need to thread the needle in these next couple turns. And Pluto Delta doesn't even matter because they have so many land drops. They can strip the Delta, let me fetch, then strip what I fetch. So I guess doing that, I could invest Manifold Key now. Okay, I can't play 2 lands on a future turn. Cheesing this out with Vault Key is how I have to do this. That's my only real way out of this deck, or out of this plan, out of this situation. Yep, Strip Mine. Ancestral Recall. Yeah, okay. I think my opponent could have won this game without drawing a single card after turn 1. Just their opening hand would have won this game, yet they have ripped just every possible good card since then. All right, now I definitely can't win. All right, GG's. Cool deck. Glad we got to see that brew pop off against me. On to the final round. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play in the final round, positive record on the line. This is a turn 1 stock up with a black floating, or I could just scroll pass. My opponent does not have a Lurrus. I could also scroll for force and pad up either surviving turn 1 or protecting my stock up on turn 2. Right, Mox Jet is on the stack. Underground Sea. Right, Merchant Scroll resolved right away. Proactive or reactive? All right, I'm going proactive. Ancestral Recall's in my hand. Hope I'm not dead. Mox Sapphire. Ancient Tomb. Oh, maybe Jewel Shops, maybe some other flavor of shops. Could be anything. Any shop. This could even be White Initiative. They're just tinkering. All right, am I dead? All right, had I known the matchup, I would have gotten the force, but I did say that out loud and then decide to ignore it. They've got a Metamorph. The good news is they won't know very much about my deck. Another Metamorph. I think at this point they've seen a third of their deck and there's likely to be a force in it. Manifold Key untaps Coveted Jewel. PO for everything. They left 1 jewel behind. That's to copy it. All right. Be a win. Okay, Mindbreak Trap comes in. Mental Misstep comes out. Oracle's Recall is probably something I'm interested in. Hull Breacher, this is what this card's for. Blusterstorm's kind of bad against them. They do have Force of Wills and Paradoxical Outcomes, but a lot of their cards that matter are artifacts. Karn's great. Do I need this basic island? I don't think so. Gitaxian Probe, I don't always care what's in their hand. All right, I'm going to cut the Merchant Scroll again. Is Hercule's Recall even something I want, though? Like, bouncing all their Coveted Jewels doesn't sound like a plan. All right, Hercule's Recall's out. 2 traps, 2 Hull Breachers. All right, let's try it. Okay, a hand that is actually pretty good. I'm going to keep. This is turn 1 stock up with force backup. Potentially, no, it can't force twice because I have to cast the stock up. If stock up hits 2 blue cards, I can do that. Crypt. Stonks. If they force here, I'm not going to force back. Like, I'll take this as Hymn to Turok, and then I can Force of Will to protect versus their send here. I have half of my combo and Sensei's Top that can dig. Ruby. Springs. Time Walk, fine. That's a sad little desperate Time Walk. I'm not fighting over those. Ursul's Workshop, pretty good one. All right, Mana Crypt. Lost my flip. Sensei's Top. Spin it. Okay, there's Tez. Now I have an interesting decision to make, which is put them in check by playing the Time Vault, but they can metamorph my Time Vault. I don't think this is actually a question. All right, go. I have the force back up. They're dead next turn. Coveted Jewel. I will force this and hope their last cards aren't force blue card. Okay, getting to my turn. Lost my flip. Tez. All right, untap Time Vault. They're not all the way dead here because I have to clear my mana crypt, but they're close to dead. Okay, stock up on top of my deck. Go to my extra turn. I want to flip. Game on. Stock up. I would like Mox Emerald and Ancestral Recall. Emerald. Untap Time Vault. Don't forget to do that. Beseech the Mirror. That can sacrifice the mana crypt eventually. I'm drawing all these cards. It doesn't matter what order they're in. Okay, bonus turn. Lost the flip. I can lose 3 more flips before it's over. Ancestral myself. Demonic Tutor. All right, there it is. Okay, Urza Saga. Untap Time Vault. Tap Time Vault. Demonic Tutor. They should probably concede to this. All right, I'll get Tinker and spin the top. Force stock up land. I'll put stock up on top. And then bonus turn. And I don't have to show them anything else here. The Urza Saga will win the game. Untap Vault. Tap. Tinker. Just going to put like Soul Ring into play. Make a construct. All right, I'm not showing them anything else here. Cool. They've seen enough. On the draw. It's basically the same but worse. Okay, here we go. I have Mindbreak Trap, but my hand is just a pile of colorless mana. And it doesn't do anything if I find mana. I have to ship this. Okay, rewarded. Keep. And I think it's Manifold Key that goes to the bottom. Lorien Revealed gets me to the mana that casts stock up. Key is part of my AB. Alright, I am going to bottom the key. I just think that's the farthest away from being imminently useful, and I'm on the draw versus Jewel Shops. 1, 2, Mindbreak Trap is on. We're playing around it. We're going to get Upkeep Ancestraled. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Hook that to my veins. Okay, probe you, see what these cards look like. One Ring, Mox Emerald, Force of Negation, Time Vault. All right, Mox Pearl, my land. Not in good shape here. They're going to get a One Ring, and there's little I can do about it. If they mess up their sequence somehow and turn on my Mindbreak Trap, that might be something. There's one spell. Saga for turn. All right, this Mindbreak Trap is not on. Okay, I have to cycle Lorien to get a land. And I'm also just going to fetch for a land now. So I don't want to draw lands. I'm trying to combo out over top here. And that's not bad. Okay, Emerald can cast stock up. I could also hold up hard cast Mindbreak Trap. I'm not a believer. Stock up. Could hit Academy, so I'm going to chill. Karn. Okay. Karn Mox Jet. I'm just going to cast Karn right here. That is a way I could steal this. Karn Jet. Land. Mox. If the one unknown card in their hand is blue, this is going to suck. But if it doesn't, if it's not, this is going to rule. We are in, gamers. Okay. What's in my sideboard? There is a One Ring of my own. There's a Lattice. There's a Pithing Needle. I could just blow up one of their artifacts in case they come up with Tolarian Academy. Urza Saga is the next problem to solve. I think I'm just going to blow up their Jet. That makes Academy worse, and it makes their Urza Saga token smaller. But they do need a land that's not Workshop before they even get a Saga token. All right, there's Workshop. We might steal this one with the power of Karn the Great Creator. All right, a little more of this than I really want, but whatever. Stock up. Force Pitching Hall Breacher. Okay, so they found that a little too late. Do I want the One Ring now? I think I do. All right, I am going to get the One Ring. I could get Lattice. My next mana locks them out completely. I'm going to get One Ring. Okay, I have a WinCon, which is their One Ring. Saga Tutors here. If they have a Pithing Needle, they could turn off Karn or turn off One Ring. Vexing Bauble. Okay. Might as well get that in, I guess. There's all the cards I knew about. Okay, draw for turn. Black Lotus, disappointing, because they just played the Bauble. Ring. Draw with Ring. Dark Ritual. I'll just blow up Mox Emerald now. Next turn, I'm going to start attacking them with the One Ring. That's my plan. If I attack them with One Ring while leaving up Hardcast Mindbreak Trap... Uh-oh. Coveted Jewel. Right, that draws a bunch of cards, but doesn't tap for mana. And I get to steal it and draw a bunch of cards next turn. Workshop. Alright, they're doing stuff. Phyrexian Metamorph, leaving a blue floating. Probably going to copy Jewel. And they've used their land drop already. They would need, like, Chain of Vapor, specifically. Okay, cool. Alright, now I win. Take one from the ring, draw for turn, stand the ring up, take your coveted jewels, draw 6. You're dead. We got the GGs. A positive record. This deck, playing through this league, really highlighted how busted it feels when your Yogg-Will resolves or your Tinker resolves, and how horrendous it feels when those things don't happen. There were games where I just threaded the needle by raw overpowering of what my opponent was presenting, and then there were other games where I didn't do a damn thing and it wasn't close. The thrill of Dark Ritual comboing out, like beating that Collector Oof with a perfect Tendrils for exactly their life total with Beseech lines, that was a lot of fun. But on the flip side, there were games where I was under the lock and just had a handful of Dark Rituals or something instead of the ability to counterplay. There is nothing wrong with this deck. It's a powerful vintage level deck. The concern would be, if you were going to select something like this for Eternal Weekend, is the opportunity cost of why is this better than Doomsday or PO if you want to be a combo deck? And I'm not convinced that it is either of those things. Like, Doomsday is much more focused on what it does. It has more cantrips, less air. It wins very quickly when it turns the corner. Meanwhile, PO can do other stuff, like just play out some Thundertrap trainers, 4th Aerolingus for 2. It has Luris. That's a plan. And even if you do like the big Tinker lines in a deck like this, the Tez PO deck does exist. I think that's worse than the Luris PO deck, but the Tez PO deck also exists. Yeah, this deck is a fairly busted combo deck in a metagame that already has 4 extremely good combo decks at the top of it. So, you know, you basically, I think the reason to play this deck is that you decided you want to be a Tendrils of Agony gamer. You identify as someone who wants to storm out and you want to live that life. And that's fine. I'm not here to judge anyone for their choices. But I do not think that this deck is better than any of the Jewel Shop, Raker Shop, PO, Doomsday, Quadrumvirate that is hanging out near the top of the format. I'm going to leave this one here. Stefan, thank you for sharing it. This was a lot of fun to play. I do love decks like this. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon, and I'll see you next time.